Hey guys, welcome to Moose's Machinery. Today's video is really going to be all about my opinion on what makes a good or good enough drill press. Now, depending on the day, this monstrosity would qualify as absolutely inadequate or absolutely perfect and fit for purpose. Now, this particular machine is an old Chaz Allen Speedster, so it's missing a lot of its factory parts. This whole kit and caboodle here it came to me a mess. Wiring was trashed, it was a fire hazard. So I put on a new motor and I put on a variable frequency drive. I did reuse a lot of it. For a lot of reasons, this machine lives unplugged from the wall. And actually, all of my machines live unplugged from the wall. I'm really paranoid about electrical fires. That's a hill I will die on, is you either shut power off to the machine or disconnect from power. And this is a pretty cool machine in that it has a Morse taper 2 spindle nose. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, this type of spindle nose is really cool for quick changing. You can change chucks. So if I'm going to go do power tapping, I want a keyed chuck like this because keyless chucks can loosen when you quickly reverse the machine. Or maybe I will want to use a taper shank drill bit. And I'm a little bit fussy about this, but I think that once you get up above half an inch on a proper like one horse or 3/4 horse drill bit, you really should be using a taper shank drill bit. Chucks just don't hold as well as the taper shanks. And I have had, I've spun 5/8 inch bits in chucks in this and trashed the bit and trashed the chuck. So that's why I have developed that opinion. But what you're not seeing on camera is just because this machine is so tall, if I want to show you all of it and have it at a reasonable height, you're not going to see the table. But this table is actually on a really, really accurate dovetailed crank. So I'm just going to check and make sure I haven't lowered it out of frame yet. Yeah, we're going to have to tilt the camera down a little bit. But this cranks up and down like it does on a milling machine. And it's really nice and accurate. But what's also really cool, so if I'm doing smaller parts and I don't want to crank the table up and down, I can just loosen the lock on my head, I guess is the best way to put it, and I can slide this up and down. And one of the other cool features is you can put a lock screw in this. There's not a groove for it, but I don't know if this is an original part or not. I can move this and index it. So if I just want really sensitive drilling here, I can grab on this side, but if I want to give myself a lot more leverage, I can spin it around. I can re-index depending on how deep I'm going. And this also has a really nice, sturdy, repeatable depth stop. So I want to make sure we're in frame with this, but this kit and caboodle here is a depth stop. So I can move it up and down on the arm, or on the spindle, and control how far I drill. So if I'm doing chamfering or something, I can set the depth stop. Really nice feature to have. This is not the only way to have a good repeatable depth stop. There's more than one ways to do it. This is just what this machine has. Now, what I really would prefer is a Reeves drive variable speed machine. For those of you who don't know what that is that's the style variable speed that you have on the 2J or 1J Bridgeports, the variable speed heads. You used to have a crank, and you have a two-piece pulley that expands and contracts. And that controls your speed there. You don't have step pulleys like this machine. I can control the speed with my VFD to a degree. I do have an inverter duty motor on here, But another really interesting video actually I think is talking about the limitations of variable speed drives and why they may not be right for you in your application. But I think one of the last parts of a drill press we don't talk about a lot or think of as really part of the drill press is your work holding solution. So I really like these quick adjust vices because, as the name implies, they're very quick. I can change parts very quickly. And if I want to go to a much narrower part, I'm not sitting here cranking for a long time. It's just, there you are. You change sizes. This is an Amazon special. I will put a link in the description. I really recommend it. For me, I was on the fence about buying the 6-inch vise. I'm really glad I bought the 4-inch vise. I think for what I do and the size work I'm doing, a 4-inch vise was completely the right choice. I don't regret it at all. It's fairly rare I'm maxing out either of the vices on my machines, and typically it either fits in the vise or it wouldn't fit in a 6-inch vise, so I'm going to have to fixture to the table. And speaking of tables, so this machine only has 1 T slot. There are occasions where I wish it had 2 T slots, but it's not the end of the world. You know, 1 T slot is better than nothing. I wouldn't really think about using this drill press with more than a 3/8 inch bit with an unsecured vise. I will at least put one hold down in it, one bolt I should say, and tighten that bolt. Typically, I like to tighten one that's going to be nearest to the drilled hole so you have minimal leverage. So when you think about it, if I was bolting here, my drilled torque, I'm going to have a lot more leverage because the pivot point's longer, so I want to be as close as I can. An XY table is something I see some people putting on drill presses. I don't think you need one if you have a milling machine, because at that point, what's the point of doing it on a drill press? Those XY tables are not, while they're inexpensive, they're not really that repeatable or accurate. You are getting into territory where, in my opinion, you might as well just use the milling machine you probably already own. If you don't own a milling machine, okay, I understand why you're getting an XY table. So this is just personal opinion. But I think a big workspace like this, even if you don't use it, it's really convenient for me to just push the vise to the side, put the part on that I'm working on, hold it down, and go about my business. I don't have to pick the vise up, carry it places. I do have room. I like keeping an oil can on here. I've just taken it off for this video. I'm going to grab it and show it to you. So this is a mixture of Tap Magic and lard oil. The Tap Magic I'm kind of getting away from because in oil cans like this you get this slime all over and it's a little bit gross. That's the additive package. Tap Magic itself, the oil base in it is pretty volatile. It evaporates. I really think, for me, lard oil is just a great choice. It works. And, you know, we can probably get in the whole debate, too, on whether you should buy a keyed or keyless chuck. I think you should probably have both. But if you can only own one, I would own a keyed chuck. Since I own a lot more than one drill chuck, just in view of me right now, not even turning, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I know there's a 9th around here somewhere. So I have a lot of drill chucks, but again, if you're on a budget, there's the keyed versus keyless chuck. So I prefer a keyless chuck for drilling, but if you're doing power tapping and drilling on the same machine, you're on a budget, I would get a keyed chuck. I don't know what keyed chucks to recommend that are modern manufacture. I have a lot of 1970s and 1980s vintage, really high quality Jacobs chucks from when they were still made in America. I think they're even, where is this guy made? Some of these were even marked made in Hartford, Connecticut. Yeah, so this is still when they were in Hartford, Connecticut, if we're kind of dating how old they are. But you just don't need to have a million chucks. You know, I think that's one of the things where it's like I got probably 5 drill chucks for free all at once, same place. I would not own this many Albrecht chucks if I had to pay for them. I'll put it to you that way. I just couldn't afford them. I mean, new they're $500 or $600 drill chucks, and I have 2 of them right now. And I think between the 2 of them, I didn't even spend $100. So yeah, budget, guys, and don't be above buying used drill chucks. I think a lot of the mid to high end used chucks are still better than the new Asian import chucks. This Albrecht chuck is God knows how old. This is actually marked made in West Germany, not even made in Germany. So it's got to be at least pre-1990, and it's got less run out in it than my brand new Chinese chuck. Well, actually, no, that's not even Chinese, it's a Taiwan made chuck. So a lot of that comes to price and quality point. But one of the cool things about these bigger rigid drill presses is, I'll show you in a moment what size hole we can drill in mild steel. We can turn a 1-inch bit in this thing and it hardly even grunts or bogs the motor. A good rule of thumb is 1 horsepower per 1 inch of drill bit you're turning. In this case, we have 1 horsepower, we're turning a 1-inch drill, it'll do it. I don't need a pilot hole in mild steel. Once we get into alloy steels, yes I do. It's just a little bit too much for this machine. And one of the benefits of this dovetail column in the fact that the top half of this has been scraped and mated to the base is this is a very rigid machine. It doesn't deflect at all. It's on the face of the table at every point in travel I've checked. It's, you know, it's square to within about 1.5 thousandths of an inch on a 15-inch circle. So we've got very good perpendicularity to the table. So we do have a lot of advantages over round column drill presses. However, this does have some disadvantages to round column drill presses. And for the volume of floor space it takes up, I have a much more limited Z-axis. Those Harbor Freight drills that are in the same physical size class, not weight class. This drill press is about 1,000 pounds. There's not a lot of modern available stuff that's really an apples to apples comparison with these machines, because very few drill presses anymore that are belt drive sensitive feed are made this heavy. You can get power feed, geared down feed machines that are absolutely heavier than this, no problem. You don't really see those on the hobbyist market because they've all been beat to death and worn out. They don't survive and last long enough to go on to become hobby machines. Drill presses in fab shops and machine shops get leaned on hard for just banging holes all day long. And this is on the smaller end of dedicated commercial machine shop drill presses. There are machines that are still only a Morse Taper 2 that weigh about 2,000 pounds, and they're monsters. You can also get gang drills where you've got 4 spindles like this all in a line. So those don't really last long enough to make it the hobby world, and they're often too heavy. I think that looking at round column machines like people are more familiar with, those make more sense for most people because, one, they'll turn faster. So this in theory is capable of about 5,000 or 6,000 RPM. I did the math. I don't dare spin it that fast. This machine gets scary around 1,500 because of the exposed belt. Now, it is above my head. I do have a guard between me and it, and when I'm standing at the controls, I'm not exposed to it. But again, guys, I don't think it's worth pushing it. Very, very few drills in my experience are really going to have much trouble getting fed too slow. But for extremely small drilling, just because of the spindle run out on this, I tend to go to my Bridgeport. With my good chuck in it, we have about 0.5 thousandths of run out. This machine does need new spindle bearings, so we're pushing about 5 to 7 thousandths of an inch of run out. So, you know, really small drills just won't work on this machine anyway because of the limitations. That much run out will break drill bits. You won't notice it on anything like 5 or 6 thousandths of run out won't really be an issue on drill bits larger than 1/8 of an inch in my experience. But you have to be careful with 1/8 inch drill bits and just not lean on them, just be gentle. I've gotten away with 3/32 or even a 1/16 of an inch on this machine by running them as fast as I dare and just very little feed, peck, 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 lots of oil. But again, you know, limitations of the machine, we're getting into it. I think a little bit too deep for an introduction on just what I think makes a good drill press. And back to the round column machines. The round column machines will be the same height. You'll have your chuck in the same place, but because you can swing your table out of the way, you can be drilling on the floor. So you could be drilling a 4-foot tall part. This will not accommodate a 4-foot tall part. However, I'm not a fab shop, so for me that limitation is largely a non-issue. I have drilled holes in 16 or 18 inch tall parts on this. For me, that's a physically large part. That's a lot of mass to be handling. You know, I'm primarily a gunsmith, so for me that limitation, non-issue. This is actually perfect. I frankly fairly rarely have the table any lower than here. I mean, if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll notice the table's pretty much in the same place all the time, because the quick adjust here, that's all the travel I need for the vast majority of jobs. There's always that one thing you come in and you're like, oh God, I wish I had a little more room, but you can stuff it on there and hope for the best. And just kind of a last parting note, if you're getting chips like this on occasion, that's a good sign, but you're not pushing hard enough on them. Your chips should break on a drill press. If you can't get them to break, push harder or just push harder. You'll see if these ever start to straighten out, I put on more cutting oil. These chips are clearly cut, there's no tearing on them. If you kind of get feathered edges on them, you need to add more cutting oil. You know, when you drill a lot of holes, you'll start to see what is happening with the chips coming out and get an idea of what you need to do to keep your bits lasting as long as possible. If your drill bits are only lasting like 10 or 30 holes, start looking at what's wrong. On like 1/4 and 3/8 inch drills, I can typically get 100 to 200 holes before I want to touch them up, depending on material. About 200 holes in mild steel, about 100 holes in tool steel. So think about how long your drill bits are lasting. Now, I know other people will chime in and say, oh, well, I can get twice that. You are either a better machinist than me, buying better quality drill bits, or you might actually have a power down feed where you're able to drill at the exact right amount of feed and speed for that material. This has huge jumps in between RPMs, so I'm always running too fast or too slow. But thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed talking about machines like this and sort of taking a deeper dive into the behind the scenes is really a part of this channel I love getting to explore. I think there's a wealth of information on YouTube, but a lot of it is the surface level shortcuts, not really showing how parts are set up. Now, I have a 3-minute video I'll probably just upload at the same time as this of how I set up a part to cut a flat on a rear entry action wrench. And it took me about 3 or 4 minutes to set up, and that's including putting the vise on the machine. A lot of these setups don't need to be super complicated because you can build, set up tools that are known accuracy and use those as reference points so you're not doing a lot of indicating. And I say that, but there's also a lot of situations where you do need to do a lot of indicating regardless of how you feel. There's no shortcuts for everything, but understanding that there's opportunities for it, I think, is very important. That not everything needs to be completely perfect all of the time, it just needs to be fit for purpose. Now, thanks for watching, guys. I hope we didn't go on too long, but it's always a pleasure getting to share this stuff with you, and I really appreciate all of the positive comments and support I get from viewers. It is really encouraging and motivating to keep sharing this stuff when you see there's so much interest in it.